Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of Acceptable Losses. First episode went really great. Kirioth is actually back. He agreed to do this full time. Amazing. So we're just going to enjoy another dark, dreary look down one of these grim, darkish worlds that's not exclusive to 40K. Kirioth, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are going to be talking about Fallout. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know a huge amount about Fallout. Possum has done an amazing job on the script once again, and of course, I've gone through it, and wow, it's so much worse than I knew, which is perfect for this. So we are currently approaching, I believe, the date on which the bombs fell in that universe. So it felt like the right time to kind of go over the build-up to what happened that caused the end of the world. So that's what we're going to do.
Oh, boy, are we actually approaching the year in Fallout where the fallout happened and everyone had to retreat into bunkers and fallout shelters and all that?
Not the year,
Saturday?
but the anniversary of the date. So yeah, Saturday, October the 23rd.
Okay. Saturday, October 23rd, 2077. I was like, yeah, because it's like in some of those movies where they're like, in the distant future of 2022, and it's like flying cars, you've got like mega cities in space, and it's like,
yep.
They thought we'd be that advanced. Classic.
Yeah.
Excited about Fallout.
I love a retro film where they talk about it's set in the far future, and it's like, it is 2019. And look at all this cool stuff we have, and I'm like, man, I'm so sorry, but no.
It'd be nice if we did advance that much, but it is what it is. But I'm looking.
So.
Yeah, we do have nukes. I'm looking forward to this episode because, like, I played Fallout 3. I played New Vegas. That's it, and that was forever ago. Like, I got the physical day of release of New Vegas for my Xbox 360. It's been a minute, so I'm excited to sort of relearn the Fallout universe.
Well, for those who aren't familiar with Fallout, the Fallout games are post-apocalyptic RPGs that see you traverse across the United States, which now lies in ruin thanks to the Great War, a global nuclear conflict that began and ended on October 23rd, 2077. Though the history of the world prior to this event may not have had a direct bearing on the in-game modern day, it's impossible to play these games without being a historical archaeologist, and the context of many incidents in the past gives weight to the conflicts of the post-ruined United States. So today, on Acceptable Losses, we're going to be doing a historical dive across the timeline leading up to the end of the world as we know it. We're not going to go too deep into the characters or the factions or organizations because, I mean, they could have an episode like all to themselves. Mm-hmm. So now there is...
War never changes.
You have literally predicted part of this episode again.
Well, that is the Fallout quote. Everybody,
it's true.
There are probably people that are mad that we didn't do that at the outset already. Like, how dare you? How dare it take you 5.5 minutes to say war never changes? Unsubscribed.
I'm out.
How dare you?
We need to do a little bit of like housekeeping before getting into the episode. So there's a bit of like meta chat first up, because there are things regarding sources, canon, and divergence that we sort of need to address. The first and most obvious one that we'll talk about is what is canon. So for the sake of this episode, the primary sources looked at are all the release games and their release manuals, with one notable game exception we'll bring up later. Though not entirely omitted, the context provided in the Fallout Bible is just that, context. For further context, the Fallout Bibles are documents made by Chris Avalon in 2002 that served as background material guide for the development of the first two Fallout games. So these documents were to provide universal explanation to developers so that design choices could be made with those in mind. Due to them being used as an influence and not necessarily set in stone, they're not really considered to be canon. However, many things from the Bibles have been confirmed, and some insinuations made in them are easy to infer based off in-game events and following some degree of logic.
So the Fallout Bibles are like reference sheets so that everyone that works on a Fallout game knows the setting, knows the vibes that they're going for and stuff like that. So those, like you said, they're not canon sources. It's just like, yeah, this is what the devs used to sort of like, hey, when you're building the world, keep these things in mind.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha.
So we've got the early divergence, which is from the 1950s to the 2000s. So for the vast majority of early history, the timelines of our real world and Fallout stay mostly in lockstep based off of the information that has been found or preserved. So it's pretty easy to say that the point of divergence itself wasn't necessarily one single point, but a series of little frays between early history and at least the late 40s. Though not entirely relevant to this episode, we know quite explicitly that aliens, particularly the Zetans, had been abducting people and meddling with things for at least 2,000 years prior to the 1950s. So they probably didn't help much.
Yeah, probably not. Hey, that might not be a divergent point. There might be Zetans that are that have been experimenting on us for 2,000 years.
It's true. We don't know for sure that that's not happening right now.
Yeah, we can neither confirm nor deny that's actually happening. So not a divergent point.
People have said it's happened to them. Are we gonna?
Experiments,
Yeah.
probes.
Oh, not the probes. Never the probes.
Mhm.
Did you see that? This is a mild tangent, but it is slightly related due to the whole alien abduction thing. I'm trying to remember what the name of the film is. There is a film where all the way through, it's a guy who thinks he's been abducted by aliens. Or he's like talking about aliens, and it's relatively normal, but then right at the end, it becomes an absolute horror show nightmare where he does get abducted, and he's trying to run away, but the aliens put like weird stuff over him and then probe his eyeball, and I can't remember what the film's called, but I remember seeing it when I was younger and being like, oh my God, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Oh God, what is the name?
Up until the probing eyeballs part, I thought you were gonna. I was gonna say, oh, that sounds like Independence Day, where the crop duster. I forget who plays him. He's a pretty famous actor. Think a comedian, and he tells everyone I got abducted, and they did things to me, and that's that was the focal point of my life, and I just started moving around in my RV with my family, and at the end he's like, "See, I told you," and then
Yeah.
up yours, and
10 Cloverfield Lane was it would have been fine if it wasn't for the end. I'm just throwing it out there.
just like the regular Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they always have a hard time sticking the landing with those Cloverfield movies.
It's true. It's 100% true. I really wish I could remember the name of that film. I can't, so we're going to move on. So all of that like alien stuff, that's for another time, right? There's a lot to go into there.
Yeah.
Another factor to consider is the potential that the point of divergence might not have even been America's doing in the first place. There's a real genuine chance that something else changed at some other point in another part of the world that started the spiral into the timeline being split. But Fallout is deeply built on American mythos, and the attitude of the United States, particularly just before the Great War, was exceptionally isolationist. Our knowledge on the rest of the world is entirely dependent on its relevancy to the United States and was distilled as such in the found history in the game. So the first major event in US history that indicates there's been a change is in May 1961, when the first human in space was American astronaut Carl Bell. In our world, the first human in space was the Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin in April of 1961, and the first American was Alan Shepard in May of 1961. The other There's another significant factor in that it wasn't done through NASA, but through the United States Space Agency, which, that's an
Haha.
entirely different organization that just doesn't exist in real life.
Sure.
So, like, with those changes, you can place a major shift occurring by the 50s and then leading into the 60s. One theory that's discussed regarding one of the major changes has to do directly with a difference in the counterculture movements in post-World War II America that was inflamed by the Vietnam War. So in the
Oh.
Fallout games, there is evidence of counterculture all throughout, including graffiti of the iconic peace sign that kind of encapsulated that anti-war sentiment.
Mhm.
However, there is something notable regarding the Fallout games: the potential lack of certain wars occurring, or if they did occur, the results were very different. That's a very cool piece of art. I like that.
Yeah. Also, noticeably fewer stars on that flag. Um, but
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
significant change there.
yeah, just a few, just a lot fewer stars. But wait, so specifically, there are some wars that just straight up didn't happen in like the Fallout universe. Like,
Well, this is the
go
thing.
ahead.
Like, one of the notable ones being the Vietnam War.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if the Vietnam War not happening would be like the course of the United States goes in a completely different direction. If like Vietnam War doesn't happen, US doesn't get involved in all that. Holy, like
Yeah.
the history course correction is like a U-turn. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's massively different, and that's one of the things that's kind of interesting. So, for
Mhm.
the Vietnam War, there's only one reference to it, and that's in the canon questionable Fallout Tactics. So, in the opening cinematic for that game, various declarations of war over the course of history are played, including one proudly stating, "We've declared war in Vietnam." But that never actually happened. The Vietnam War didn't have a grand declaration. In our world, America's involvement in Vietnam occurred after the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and the resolution that passed provided Lyndon B. Johnson with the authority to use military force without that formal declaration. So that by itself is a pretty major change.
Yeah. It's just a tiny little ripple.
just a little one drop of water in a lake. No, not really, not really.
But hey, that's the butterfly effect, right? All it
It's true,
takes
yeah.
is one flap of the butterfly's wings to cause a little ripple that will eventually become a tidal wave.
There is a catch with this, which is that the canonicity of that game makes it a bit tricky, but
Did you
we
say the canonicity?
yeah.
Is
That's a
that a real
word?
word?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, that's cool. I was like, wow,
I feel like it
fancy.
should be, right? It should be.
Now it is.
It is
I'm
now.
officially putting it into my lexicon.
We're planting the flag
Hmm.
with the incorrect number of stars.
I'm sure there's nothing unsettling about the fact that there's a lot less stars on the American flag.
So, yeah, with the Vietnam War, it's like there's a lack of general mention in the games besides that one mention in that one game, which means that it either didn't happen, which is unlikely, or that if it did happen, it was something that was publicly approved of and probably had a different result. The evidence of peace signs and other markers of counterculture, like the use of the word hippie, does imply there was pushback somewhere, but it likely was not the same extreme degree that was experienced in the real world.
Hmm.
With that in mind, though, it's likely that the Cold War was a lot more aggressive and in the public consciousness in the Fallout timeline, as made evident with the normalization of caricatures of commies that we see existing until the end of the world. And that, combined with a post-World War II exceptionalist mindset, may have been the true snowball to the differences that occur from here onwards. That is, it's
That is propaganda art at its,
yeah,
I don't want to say finest because that almost puts a positive spin on but that is your classic vintage That's what propaganda art does, right? You turn your enemies into big vilified beasts that are snatching up children, and everyone should fear them. And yeah, that is what crazy war propaganda is. That's what it's all about.
I'm not condoning it, but you have to admit that a good chunk of propaganda art goes pretty hard. Like they throw everything at it, and it's
Yeah.
effective for a very good reason, you know?
Yep. They make the enemy horrifying, and they make them non-human too a lot, which is like, see, they're not even human. They're beasts. They're no better than animals.
Yeah. Yeah. It's extremely well done, but you don't
Yeah.
actually want it to be because that makes it
No.
way more effective.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So the United States has a very different focus during the Cold War onward compared to our timeline, which is China. So in our real world history, the predominant focus that the US had, like adversary wise, was the USSR. And in the world of Fallout, the USSR certainly still exists, and there was an issue early on. But the vast majority of the US's energy in Fallout is towards China and remains towards China until the very last minute. Again, like an interesting and fun difference to compared to reality.
Yeah. It's just this. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, yeah, because in the real in reality, we really don't want to be messing with China. We really like we not only are we like just $1 trillion in debt to them, but also they're big. China's big.
Well, and make like 90% of our stuff as well, maybe. We
Oh,
have like
that's true. That's
a slight
true.
issue.
Look on the bottom of anything in your room. It might just say made in China. And yeah, we do get a lot of stuff from them. So yeah, not only just like, wow, doing battle with them would be rough, but then it's like, well, economically, it would also just cripple us.
I had a really weird realization the other day whilst I was cleaning my 3D printer out for, funnily enough, printing some horrible monstrosities, where I just suddenly realized every company I've ever worked with that has sent a 3D printer has been a Chinese company. Have
Huh.
I have I ever received anything or like been contacted by like a US company or a UK company, or is that like that particular market? I just suddenly thought, wow, it feels like they're properly dominant, and I don't know whether that's a case of marketing or whether it's actually completely accurate. But every single thing I've received 3D printing wise has come from there. And it's only when like you focus on like a specific example or you realize in relation to a specific example that you then go, oh yeah, but to be fair, looking at a lot of the stuff in here, yeah, I mean it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
a good chunk of everything else is as well.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get to the timeline from here on, there's another thing that should be brought up now, as it is relevant to pretty much everything to do with Fallout, which is the aesthetic. So the general vibe of the Fallout universe, especially in the later games, is built primarily on the world of tomorrow and Art Deco aesthetic that we see lasting far and away into the 2070s. As a complete straightforward explanation, there is no direct and full explanation as to why this aesthetic is present, besides it just looks cool and it makes the RPG stand out, especially during the time when the first one came out. It is seemingly just a stylistic choice. And to be fair, it worked. It
I was
really
gonna
worked.
say, like, yeah, it worked really well because like the aesthetic for Fallout is just like, I mean, I was gonna say it's basically its own genre at this point, right? It's the
Yeah.
it's the it's the Fallout art direction, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like it's not as it's Atom Punk. Fair enough. That's true. It is. I think I've actually heard that classification try of Atom Punk.
It's become like way more common in like the wake of the Fallout games, it's fair to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Considering how popular Fallout is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
In In a sense, the idea of the aesthetic in the first place is a very kind of run-of-the-mill, what if this seemingly innocent idea was actually scary take on the atomic age vibe of the 50s. The idea of taking, like, candy-colored imagery and juxtaposing it to the actual nuclear horrors and consequences makes it stand out way more. And to be fair, just because the aesthetics is the 50s doesn't mean that post-50s things didn't happen. Most people cite the music as an example of culture not shifting from the 50s onwards, but there's plenty of music that is post-50s on the soundtracks. So this includes Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys, released in 1966, Take Me Home Country Roads from 1971, several songs
Mhm.
from the 90s in New Vegas, and explicit references to Tool and Elton John in Fallout 2. Which I didn't realize that there were 90s stuff in New Vegas because I never played New Vegas.
I played it, but it's been so damn long. Like, honestly, I feel like the only thing that I genuinely remember was, when I picked up New Vegas, I was like, "Man, that guy on the cover goes hard. He looks so cool. I wanna that's the armor set I want for the game." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, that's a new California Republic Ranger," and I think unless you have some really good thieving skills, you have to wait until, like, near the end of the game to get it. That's all I remember.
It's always the way. The coolest
Yep.
armor you don't get until the end.
Naturally, it's, that's the hook. When am I gonna get it? When am I gonna get it? When am I gonna get it? When surely I'm close. Surely I'm close. I'm not.
I found it! It was right before the door to the final boss.
It's
Cool!
like literally like the last armor you get in like the last little storming of the last place, I think. It's been a while, chat, and I'm kind of stupid. So, take my grandiose statements with a little bit of a grain of salt.
What a disclaimer. Amazing. I mean, yeah, sure,
Accurate
you're not wrong.
though.
It's Chetsons, but everyone murders each other.
That's yup. Sure. Hell yeah, brother. What
That
year
was
was the
not a
Jetsons
successful
supposed to,
sequel.
take place in? Do you know, Shy? Do you know, Kirioth? I
I
don't remember.
I have no idea. I always thought it was like a far future thing,
Yeah,
but
but it's like far future, but that show came out, like, before I was born.
that's true.
So to them, it's like the far future of 2012.
That's fair.
Anyway.
Yeah, it could arguably be one of those situations where
Completely
it is like a 2012 or 2010 or the year is
complete derailment
1999.
that
Oh, shit.
that doesn't matter. So it oh, sorry, they're 2062. So they're still distant future.
Yeah,
2062. There you go. All
that's not far
right.
off. Maybe they just managed to leave Earth before the bombs went off. So it could.
Don't say that's not too far off. Don't do that. Don't you do that.
Oh, no,
Don't say
I meant
2062 isn't that far off. I'm not that old. You stop that right now, sir.
I meant in relation to Fallout, I promise.
Okay, cool. We're good. Back onto the episode. Fallout. Let's go.
So it could very well be that the prominent aesthetic like existed for well over 100 years after the 50s into 2070s, while other bands came and went as well, but they ultimately just didn't have as much bearing over the culture. There's also a bit of lore in Fallout 3 that can sort of justify this. So in the game, there's a reference to Project Brainstorm, which introduced the Patriotism Initiative. This initiative was to include covert and overt messages of extreme patriotism and loyalty into popular media. So it's likely that the post-war aesthetic that we see in Fallout was almost a propaganda tool in a way. The
Oh.
cons I mean, that's a cool way of doing things. I like that. That's a
Mhm.
cool justification. The concept itself was intertwined with the greatest generation returning home from World War II and celebrating the domestic spoils of victory. This vibe, combined with a more patriotic and like nationalist populace, would make it so that the aesthetic became something to preserve, something that became intertwined with the idea of American exceptionalism, with the quote, "A bad day in America is better than a good day elsewhere," within the Fallout like population in Fallout, and it likely just stayed that way as a result. The "a bad day in America is better than a good day elsewhere" is a weirdly scary sentence.
Yeah, it is. That feels like it's patriotism to like the extreme.
There's a hint, just a little soupçon of xenophobia in there, isn't there?
Yeah,
Just
there
a little bit.
definitely
Just
is.
a bit.
There's that little underlying feeling of that for sure. But so the whole aesthetic of Fallout was because man, we did so well in World War II. That's just the pinnacle. Greatest generation of soldiers. We did it. We won. This is the feeling we want to have forever. This is the vibe we want to have forever because what a great time for us. World War II, not a great time. And so they just wanted to like capture that in a bottle, and that's why the aesthetic kind of just stays that way.
It kind of seems like it.
Oh
It's
my.
literally a case of turning culture, like culture itself, into a propaganda tool and making it so that that feeling of, we did great and we will continue to do great, and you can tell how great we are because things like cars, things like music, things like, even building design. This is what it looked like then. It still looks like that now because we nailed it.
Yeah, why
We
would we
are the
change it? It's
best.
already perfect. Look at how
Yes.
perfect we were then. Why would we need to change? We don't. Exactly. Keep it the same.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a scary mentality actually. We're just like, "Oh yeah, we've reached the pinnacle. Don't change. Let's just stay static." And it's I don't like that.
No, no, this is the thing. Fallout way darker than I actually really knew.
I mean,
Genuinely.
I knew it was dark, but now it's just kinda getting like, "Oh, I see. Oh, okay."
Oh,
And I don't know if that's necessarily dark, it's just one of those kinda like, "Ooh, not a great mindset."
it's the fun thing where in some fictional universes, like, you kind of you keep turning the page and then you suddenly realize, "Man, I already knew it was bad, but it is somehow getting worse. That's impressive."
This isn't the end of the book? Oh, no. That wasn't the final chapter? Oh, no.
Yeah. Good thing American exceptionalism never happens IRL.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's move on. So, in 1969, the the United States was split into the 13 commonwealths, thus explaining the flag, thus
Ah.
changing the borders of the various states, as well as establishing the new flag. This likely was a means to make more relevant legislation between states that had similar interests, but this just resulted in more insulated patriotism within the respective commonwealths. The same thing, though, would occur in Europe as well, resulting in the aptly named European Commonwealth. In 1969, the United States had two lunar landings with the USAA, the Valiant 11 mission in July and the Valiant 12 mission in November. I do like the fact that Europe followed the same pattern, though. Doesn't matter where you are, it was all going downhill. It's not just, it's not just one country's fault. Everyone
It's
was in on
everyone's
it.
fault. Hooray.
The Warhammer 40,000 approach. Everyone sucks.
Yeah.
Off we go.
Everyone's evil. Yep. It's just shades of gray all over the
Yep.
place.
There we go. So we've got
Oh, are
the
these
separation.
the 13? I was gonna say, I was pretty sure I counted 13 on that flag. It's good to know that confirmed. Also, quite an unlucky number.
For some reason, it's really funny to me that there's the Northwest, the North, Southwest, 4 states, Plains, Midwest, East Central, Southeast, Gulf, Columbia, Eastern, New England, Texas. Like,
Texas.
I
Well,
know New England and Columbia are still on there, but for some reason, Texas being surrounded by kind of, when I say generic names, that for some reason is way funnier to me.
I think it's funny that there are some places that are just like, yeah, this is it's like, let's come up with the 13 new unique names for these territories in our fictional United States. And it's like, oh, a lot of these make sense. Northwest, Southwest, 4 states, Southeast. And then it's just like, guys, we ran out of names. Well, Texas is just Texas, Texas. New England, New England. Columbia, Columbia. Like, you couldn't just, like, amalgamate them into, like, Eastern or, like, something? Or just call Texas the South or something? Like,
I
nah,
do
just keep
like the.
Texas, Texas.
Is that a real quote, Shy? Is that an actual? Is that a genuine quote? Wow. So, J.E. Sawyer, the lead designer of Fallout New Vegas, once said, "Me looking at this 20 years later, what fucking dipshit drew this up?" What?
Oh, man. Oh, boy. That's an
Wow.
official quote, eh? God damn.
That is really funny. Oh,
That's
God.
crazy. Holy.
Oh, Mr. Sawyer, what a legend.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. That's it. Hell yeah,
Oh,
brother.
God.
Oh, man.
That's really got me for some reason.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Okay, we're going to skip ahead a bit, quite a bit, to 2002 with the founding of West-Tek Corporation. Their slogan, "Warfare fully powered," should be an indicator of what they were all about.
Oh, yeah, that's all you need to say. For a second, I thought, "Oh, yeah, it's the designing of West Texas." I was like, "Oh, damn it. This map is just getting worse."
They, funnily enough, were a defense contractor in the United States. You could probably have guessed that. They worked heavily with the development of strategic devices and weapons, such as rail cannons and eventually power armor. But their NBC, which stood for Nuclear, Biological, and Chemical Division, would end up
Oh,
being being a major marker of their post-war legacy.
yeah, I don't like hearing about the NBC in a game called Fallout, a franchise called Fallout. I don't love the direction this is going in.
It's just not great. It's especially for some reason biological and chemical. It just feels real. There's some real ick there, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
That is a great statue, though. Amazing. Now, this is also a good time to mention Vault-Tec as well, as they are the undisputed largest company in the United States by the time the Great War breaks out. We don't really have a time frame for when they came about. The earliest mention of their existence in the United States is in 2031, when a university in Morgantown, West Virginia, is rebranded as Vault-Tec University. Of course, for something to have a university of such prestige, one has to exist for quite a while. So we can kind of derive that Vault-Tec was getting a bit popular around the 2000s as well, if not beforehand. The same goes for other major companies like General Atomics.
No.
2020 saw the final manned mission, not last trip, to the moon in the form of the USAA's Delta 9 rocket. But another very significant event occurred in that same year. On the 25th of June in 2020, the eventual head of RobCo, Robert Edwin House, was born. He becomes very significant in a short amount of time, and we will circle back to him. The only thing to note at the moment is that in 2022, his parents die, and his half-brother Anthony takes Robert's inheritance and starts the H&H Tools Company. The early 2020s also bring us to an interesting part of the divergence point, the transistor. So in our timeline, transistors were invented in 1947, and as a result, technology began to experience the miniaturization that we have today. Transistors, of course, were around in the Fallout universe, but they were not as prominent. Instead, vacuum tubes remained the most prominent basis for electronics until the bombs dropped. Of course, transistors had their usages, especially in the form of things like targeting cards, but the earliest mention of them is in 2023.
Vacuum tubes, huh?
If I'm not mistaken, vacuum tubes is what is in my Hughes and Kettner amp on my desk. They're the
Cool.
ones that.
Vacuum tube just sounds wrong for some reason. It doesn't I don't like it. Vacuum tube. Sounds
if
like
I'm
it's
not-
the attachment for the vacuum. You know, like the long tube that nobody
yeah,
knows what to do with?
the really long one for getting
Yeah,
for getting in like corners and under beds and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
that
I'm
is
just
what's
like,
in
I
my amp.
guess I guess I can get under the couch with this. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
I'll be honest, I'm not an electrician.
unrelated.
I don't know how it works. I don't know how vacuum tubes work, and I don't really know how transistors work either. All I know is that when I swapped out the tubes in my amp, it sounded slightly different. So there.
I
I
barely
can
know
even
how my
tell you.
vacuum works, let alone vacuum tubes. Sheesh.
It makes stuff go inside.
Yeah,
Close enough. That'll do.
it
Uh,
it does the big suck, I swear.
oh
Well, that's
god.
the vacuum tube computer? What the
Holy
hell?
good lord. How does okay. I nearly said how does that work as though I'm gonna get an explanation that we could fit into the episode without me, like, melting.
Yeah, without my brain just melting out of my ears and just evaporating into the air, yeah. Same. Holy.
I lo
I like how the guy is just standing like, "Yeah, obviously that's what this is, dumbass." Like, holy, holy.
I love pictures of old computers, like the old massive ones,
Mhm.
where it's just an entire room to do a calculation. I don't know why it blows me away every time. I think it's because I know where it goes. Like you see the picture and then you go, "Oh yeah, I've got one of those in my pocket." And it's like,
Yeah.
how did that happen?"
And it's like, not
Obviously,
only that, it's like the thing in your pocket has significantly more processing power too, and it's like, "What? And
yeah.
it's just in my pocket? Crazy. It's
This this
wild."
this is the thing where those social media accounts that are like, "Things were better in the olden days," really get on my nerves because 'cause I'm like, "Mate, are you" for a while there, the most advanced thing we had access to was a printing press, and now we have the sum of all human knowledge in
In
a
my
hand
pocket, in a
yeah,
rectangle.
in a hand-sized, if you've got an old phone, device in you can just look up anything, literally anything, and you're using that power to go, "Why don't we build churches anymore? We do! Shut up! Stop!"
Why do I have this power in my hand? I shouldn't.
It's the worst. Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to read this out, mostly because I want to know what it is as well. So, a vacuum
Okay.
tube is a device that controls electric current flow in a high vacuum between electrodes to which an electric potential difference has been applied. This isn't helping. These devices became a key component of electronic circuits for the first half of the 20th century. Crucial development of radio, television, radar, sound recording, and reproduction, long distance telephone networks, analog and early digital computers. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, in the
Uh,
1940s, the invention of semiconductor devices made it possible to produce solid-state electronic devices which are smaller, safer, cooler, and more efficient, reliable, durable, and economical than thermionic tubes. In the Fallout universe, that did not happen. Okay.
Oh.
You know what? I hadn't even thought about that. This amp gets hot as hell if you leave it on for too long. That computer, made up entirely out of vacuum tubes, put that
Oh,
on in
man.
winter, you would probably still be sweating. Like,
Yeah.
for
Put that on in summer and you just
death, just immediate death.
that computer is stationed in, like, the most northern reaches of Canada. Like, it's just a shack with that computer.
More ice, more ice.
And more
Don't put
ice.
ice on it, it will short out. No, it's for me. I want to put it in my trousers. I'm going to die. Please give me more ice.
Sheesh. Holy.
Right, we're going to take a jump forward again a little bit. So we're going to do 2030s to the 2050s. So in the 2030s, Americans were introduced to the Mr. Handy series of robots, and the convenience of home life became that much better. This resulted in the next few years being a bit more quiet, but things would begin to pick up speed in the 2040s. In 2042, Mexico City was damaged by a massive earthquake, and the implementation of Mr. Handy units to provide cleanup would cause their appeal to spike internationally. This year also saw the foundation of Robco by Robert House, and in under 5 years, it would become one of the most profitable corporations on Earth. Speaking of profitable, Nuka-Cola was introduced in 2044 and in absolutely no time at all became the most popular beverage in the United States. Hell yeah.
Let's go. Love that Nuka-Cola. Oh, that's the Mr. Handybot. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that one. I guess anybody that's played a Fallout game knows that one. But yeah, I think in Fallout 4 you wake up to Mr. Handybot. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need like wander around with you for a bit.
And I think he guards your home front always? Question mark. I only played a little bit of Fallout 4, so but yeah, the Nuka-Cola ads are classic. Hey, remember when they tried to sell Nuka-Cola? Or was that the one that they made like a pre-order bonus or something? And it was one of those just not super well done things, and it was just a big plastic jumble that had the thing inside of it. Or was that a liquor? I don't remember. Anyway, sorry. I won't
I
divert it
think
too much.
I think they do. Yeah, I was going to say, Shy. I think they still sell Nuka-Cola bottles.
Oh, cool. Because again, it's just that really cool aesthetic.
Yeah, definitely.
What do we call it? Atom core
Atom
or
Punk.
whatever? Atom punk. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's got that really cool vibe to it. So hell yeah.
Not all things were bright and sunny during this time, though, as the 2050s would see the United States become more isolationist.
Oh boy.
Massive, as if you thought it couldn't get worse. A massive energy crisis in 2052 would begin to make the major companies of the US focus more inward on the status of the country, and the United States would symbolically begin to pull their influence away by flying to the moon and reclaiming the Valiant 12 flag that was put there almost 100 years beforehand. This would be the last manned flight to the moon. Defensive focus would begin to start forming in Alaska out of an abundance of caution due to its oil reserves.
Wait, so they went to the moon for what again? That you said to reclaim the flag?
Yep, Valiant 12 planted a flag, and then 100 years later, roughly, they went back and they took their flag back.
What a weird thing to do.
I think
So
effectively
weird.
it's just a like a global statement. Like, we do not need you. We do not need you and your stuff to the extent that we will fly to the moon and we will take back what we planted there because it's ours. And then we're going to come back and, like, we are powerful enough to just do this because we will feel like doing it, which
Wow.
is like gestures go. It's kind of up there. It's pretty strong.
Yeah, that's not only is it a strong gesture, but it's like one of those gestures. It's like, wow, you're not only that strong, but you are petty enough to do something like that and like go through with it and be like, look at what we are willing to do because of just how petty we are. And it's like, oh, that's dangerous. Oh, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous
100%.
level of like hubris where it's just like, oh no. Oh, 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 all right, tell me more about the Fallout universe and how it totally doesn't fall apart.
The United States at this point, not the only nation struggling, to be fair. There's conflict
Imagine not.
over resources during this time, and that would cause a massive amount of disarray and infighting across the globe. These resource wars went on for decades, but the immediate side effect of it in 2052 was the collapse and disbandment of the United Nations due to the sheer volume of nations withdrawing so that they could settle their disputes more directly, if you will. Around this time, the United States was impacted by a virus referred to as the New Plague. This plague resulted in increased paranoia across the country, as the
Oh,
source of the New Plague was not known.
a plague of paranoia, huh? In
A
a
plague of paranoia.
country that is petty enough to go to the moon just to take their flag back because fuck you, we're the best. You don't deserve our flag, huh?
A literal plague leading to a plague of paranoia, leading to the development of Project Safe House.
Yeah, that's yeah. This is swiftly going downhill indeed. Yep, yep, yep.
At the initial inception, Project Safe House was proposed as a defensive endeavour that would more or less provide peace of mind to citizens in the event of further plagues or war. Quite a good idea. They'd do this with the development of massive shelters around the country that were everything proof and self sustaining to the point of self governance. The development of Vault-Tek's ZAX 1.0 supercomputer system that was designed to help govern the vaults was seized for research regarding this plague, as well as other stuff, and this would be given over to West-Tek to work on. And that's
Oh,
those two
oh boy.
pictures are so good.
That
Before and
is
after.
yeah. So before this, I don't know if I just glossed over it and was glossy-eyed or whatever. What exactly did Vault-Tec do before needing to, like, make vaults? Or is that just all they do? They just make these Fallout vault shelters, and that's all they've ever done? Or, I mean, it's kinda in the name, but, like, it seems like this was like, "Hey, Vault-Tec, we really need Fallout vaults."
Vault-Tec, it seems to have just been in the background the whole time. Just
Okay.
sort of like as doing what the name suggests. And then as things get worse, things that they've been working on, like this supercomputer, has been taken away from them and given to West-Tek instead. And
Right.
yeah, so like a defense contractor with a very specific focus, I think is probably the best way to put it, given the name.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how their the hyper specific defense contract is very necessary to literal global safety.
Yeah.
Kind of weird
Yeah.
that, huh?
And I don't know why you would say that as though you suspect some form of foul play. Surely not.
No, no, never, never,
No.
no. Just call yourself something different than Vault-Tec, man. You never make it so obvious.
The Happy Shelter Company.
Yeah.
That would somehow be even worse because, the name wouldn't make Vault-Tec sounds inherently kind of off. A Happy Shelter Company, like, I don't know, I feel like you could get away with some awful stuff with that name.
You know, it's weird now when I say Vault-Tec, it almost sounds like a vault door slamming shut to me, just Vault-Tec. It's kinda like the poof
Oh, it does a
sound to
little
me.
bit. What's the name? What's the word? Is it onomatopoeia, where, like, the
Yeah, yeah,
words
yeah,
kind of sound like
onomatopoeia.
the thing? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that just suddenly, like, it felt that way to me when you were saying it, and I was like, "Oh, even saying the name is so forceful and just ka-chunk."
Yeah. I bet that was not intentional, but it is kind of neat.
Yeah, I think it's just a brain worm that I literally that just wormed its way into my skull now.
I like it. I'm going with it. We're gonna shift into the 2060s. Um, so, hey, DK, how are you feeling so far about hyper-isolationist America hit by plague and putting massive amounts of money into defense contractors? Oh, no. Uh,
Nope, 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 you're not. Nope, 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 I'm not. That's I don't wanna say that's bait because that's not exactly what that is, but I'm not touching that one with a 50-foot pole. Yeah, cool fantasy. What a dope fantasy. Love that fantasy.
you know what? You know what I
Oh,
like? I like when a fictional universe has absolutely no parallels with real life. I love that. I love it.
0, none,
None.
absolutely would
Absolutely none.
never happen in our world, right? Not in real life, never.
Literally
Ooh.
impossible.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So what happens next, Curious?
the, the, the impact of the resource wars would cause a general change in everyday life by 2060. It became too expensive to utilize gasoline in vehicles, and a revised focus on nuclear energy would eventually become the norm. The fatigue of the resource wars in Europe would result in the collapse of the European Commonwealth and the start of the European Civil War. So, from the 2050s onwards, the vaults around the country have been constructed one by one, and by the time the 2060s rolled around, the majority of them would be completed. As to normalize the vaults, random drills would be done to see everyone's preparedness for evacuation. This resulted, unfortunately, in a boy who cried wolf effect for most people who lived near the vaults themselves.
Ah, yeah.
You can't be
It seemed
calling
like
people
that
to
would
the vault
eventually.
every other weekend and then expect them to show up when things actually go wrong.
Yeah.
Humans don't work like that.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta fill out the survey. right before the bomb drops, right? Failed us right before.
Yeah.
That's how Fallout 4 starts, right? Like, who are
Yep.
you and why am I signing this? Trust me.
It'll all be fine. Oh, wait.
Weird.
So in 2065, Robert House, now one of the most powerful people in the world, would conclude that nuclear war was inevitably going to occur within 15 or so years, and began to work on post-apocalyptic survival scenarios focused around one of his most central holding locations, Las Vegas. Around this time, the development of power armor, advanced nuclear weapons, and the normalization of nuclear fusion within the US military assured that the country would be able to fully defend itself, especially after the formal declaration that all international trade talks would cease on June 24th, 2066. Saying
Ooh,
that out loud is wild. I know this is not real. I know it's in the games, but
yeah.
the idea of like the
Ceasing
US
all international trade is just oof.
is mad. It is insane. Saying it is like, oh God, it feels weighty, really weighty in
Yeah,
all the
it
worst
sure
ways.
does. Wow, problems with international trade. Stop, Shy. Stop. It's 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 stop. Stop. We can't keep doing this, Shy. We can't keep saying this. We can't keep saying this. I just want to live in a fantasy world where none of this is real.
DK's going to end this episode with like super specific PTSD or something.
I'm gonna crash out, Shy. I'm gonna crash the hell out. I'm not gonna be available for the next month.
Why?
I'm
Why
crashing
did?
out over here.
Why? Why was Acceptable Losses only 1.5 episodes long?
Because DK died. He had a crash out so bad from the Fallout episode, he just died.
Dehydrated from all the crying is what happened. It just just became a husk
Yeah.
in an ergonomic chair.
Now we saved the husk for the Mass Effect episode.
That is true, yeah. So the declaration of ceasing all international trade talks was met poorly, funnily enough.
Mm.
Again, no parallels here, particularly by China, which was facing almost total economic collapse at this time.
Oh.
In December of 2066, China would invade Alaska to seize the oil reserves, and the United States would declare war against China in response. An unfortunate accidental casualty during this time would be Canada, as the United States would need to freely cut through the country to send more support to Alaska. Poor Canada.
Or Canada.
Just getting the rough end of the wedge every time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Well, yeah. Oh, God.
That can't be real. That can't be real. Shy, that can't be real.
Oh
That's
no.
not. I Kira, what happens next? Kira, what happens next? You gotta.
I'm
We gotta.
I'm sorry, I started choking. I started
This
coughing.
can't keep happening. How is this?
Made me laugh so much. I couldn't. My lungs gave out. Oh my God, hang on, I need a drink.
I, that's. I hate that could be a real headline. Oh man. Oh
Oh my
man.
God.
Oh man.
Wow. Okay. So
That's crazy. That's actually in fault. That's crazy.
yeah. Hey, now we know where maybe that's where the inspiration came from. Who knows? Big
Make
big
more
Fallout
sense
fan.
than yeah.
Oh, okay.
Holy shit.
The forces of freedom have liberated the natural resources of the Yukon territory.
Like with the US flag, just steamrolling through the forest. Jesus
That's
Christ.
so funny. A
That
tank
poor moose
chasing a
never stood a
moose.
chance.
And
And
a
the
moose for
beavers,
some
they never
beavers.
stood a
Yeah.
chance.
Wow.
Damn.
God.
That's not the blowing out of beavers I thought we were going to hear about today, you
Oh
know?
my Jesus Christ. All right. The 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 Sino-American War saw the first mass deployment of power armor by the US military. Games Workshop, you're not allowed to sue us for mentioning power armor outside of your IP. That's not how that
Mhm.
works. And the brutality that it showcased, both in size and in usage of heavy weaponry, caught China by surprise and resulted in them attempting to develop their own variants. The US at this point is in a bit of a bind. All trade and international deals are off the table, and they need to support their troops as well as their civilians. The United States begins to really test their treaty with Canada and begins to exploit the resources of Canada to help with increased issues domestically. Many domestic plants and goods are refocused to support the war effort, resulting in massive amounts of inflation and financial instability. The United States gold reserves are put into a vault in the early 2070s, and West-Tek is put under full military control.
Oh, all right. Great, great. Love to hear it.
Oh, those
Wow, that
those images
is
are great.
that's a well, I mean, like I've never seen paratroopers drop in. I've never seen war footage of but just something about the sky filled with like the parachute paratroopers is just like, "Oh man, that's bad.
It is,
That's
but then
bad."
then you remember what they've got to drop through to safely
No,
land,
true,
and
true.
it's like, "Oh, it looks bad from down here. I bet it looks worse from up there. I
Well,
bet it does."
golly, the like I could not imagine. I couldn't imagine being in war, let alone being a paratrooper that has to slowly parachute into a hostile war zone. Uh-uh. I do not have I am not nope.
Not
Mm-mm.
built for
That
it. No,
sounds like
I'm
a
with you.
nightmare. Yep, yep. I am not built for that at all. I am a coward.
This is one of those things where signing up is obviously a choice, but anyone who's like, "Yes, I was in active combat," I'm like, "You may as well be a different species to me.
Yep,
You might
yep,
as well
yep.
be." Like, that there's a level of self there that is beyond what I can actually comprehend.
Mhm.
How? You know? It's not
Thank you.
quite to the same level as, like, whenever someone's like, "Oh, what would you do if you were in Silent Hill?" I'm like, "I'd off myself." I'm just easy.
That's when you bring up the meme of, "I guess I'd just die."
Yeah.
I
Just
guess. Or it's like the meme when it's like a meteor is blowing up half the earth and the white text is, "What would you do in this situation?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'd just die."
yeah. I'd find a bottle of whiskey, and that'd be it. Yeah,
Yep.
that's the end of the
That's
plan.
that's
Yeah.
that's probably it. Yeah, yep.
We are now in the early 2070s. In 2072, the US confirms that it's developing a massive weapon that will hopefully liberate Anchorage, but the issues in Canada are only getting worse. Riots begin to break out about the United States overreach, and some protesters attempt to damage pipelines that go from Alaska through Canada into the US. These acts of civil disobedience serve as justification for the United States to begin Canada's annexation.
Of course. Alright.
Of
Yep.
course.
Mhm.
During the conflict, China had begun using biochemical weapons, and West-Tek began working on something called the pan-immunity virion, which was an attempt to form generalized immunity against any biological weapons used by China against the United States. The development of PvP saw some strange side effects, which included replication in cells that wouldn't normally replicate, and a general increase in physical resilience and muscle mass. These side effects caught the attention of the military, and the focus of these studies changed. The pan-immunity virion would be renamed into Forced Evolutionary Virus, and experimentation would begin on how this could impact animals.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, boy. A part of me is like, "Do you want death claws? Because this is how you get death claws."
Yeah. Also, at the committee, who at the committee suggested Forced Evolutionary Virus. Because there's no way you're saying that out loud and then going,
What a
this seems
name.
ethical and correct. Yes. Uh,
Maybe just call it like the EV. It's like, oh, it's the evolutionary virus or the something like that. But the
no,
forced
forced.
evolutionary disease is like, bro,
You've
read the
got to lead with
room.
forced. You've got to lead with it.
Also, I'm assuming that is a vat of the forced evolution thing.
Don't fall in it. That's
I
my
was gonna
advice.
say that looks like how the Joker became the Joker.
Yeah, put your straw away. Don't go diving.
Yeah,
Leave it alone.
don't
Walk
don't
away.
drink the forced evolution soup.
In 2075, Robco published the Unified Operating System, which would become one of the standard OS systems that terminals would use throughout the country. Robco would continue to expand and would begin to finalize more aggressive buyouts of other companies, such as Repcon Aerospace. Near the end of 2075, the United States would begin to discover China's response to America's more brutal power suits, hyper-advanced stealth technology. Stealth tech that's so advanced that it could potentially hide something as massive as a submarine in plain sight. Wild.
That's crazy. So I don't is there like stealth tech in the games that you actually like can use, or is it just like a because like I said, it's been so damn long since I played a Fallout game that I don't remember if that's like a big plot point that like because I gotta believe if they have stealth tech that can hide a submarine, that surely there's got to be some big revelation in one of the Fallout games where they're like, yeah, we hit a skyscraper. And this skyscraper was like our main base of operations. And you never knew it because, of course, you didn't. It was cloaked.
So yeah, you can get stealth suits and American stealth boy tools.
Okay. Damn, that's a cool suit.
That is pretty good. I like that. Right, we're going to jump ahead again to 2076, which is America's last full year.
This is
Wow.
Fallout 76 territory, right?
Yep. We now reach the last.
Jesus, that's how numbers work. Jesus, I realize how stupid that is to stay out. All right, anyway, go ahead.
Oh, so we're now on the last full year left on Earth. By the beginning of 2076, the annexation of Canada was complete, and the United States was continuing their various experimentations. FEV tests had escalated with animals during this time, and despite showing increased strength in animals like dogs, it did not increase intelligence. Regardless, FEV research would begin on humans around this time. The United States would also begin testing other things, such as weather manipulation, but the most successful test would come in the form of the release of the T-51 model of power armor. This armor would be deployed to the front lines in Alaska, and the sheer show of force would decimate the Chinese war effort.
Damn, I'm assuming this is like the classic power armor, the T-51. You said this has got to be
Yes.
like the iconic, like.
I think that's the one with the big
Poster.
rebreather thing, the pipes, the bit. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of what you see the the Brotherhood of Steel rolling around in most of the games, right? Is the iconic T-51.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Fallout power armor. Is that one specifically?
It's very cool. It just is.
It's iconic. It's iconic.
100%. The side effects of the FEV experimentation would begin to leach out from various West-Tek hubs and begin to impact the local environment. The result of the more localized mutations would result in the development of specialized military bases to contain the experiments, such as the Mariposa military base in California. The experimentation aspect of the country would further extend into the initial concept of Project Safe House, becoming further bastardized. This was thanks, in part, to something called the Enclave. So the Enclave's true starting point is not really known, but it was likely just before the start of the Resource Wars. The Enclave was a cabal which included members of the military, industrialists, scientists, and politicians, such as the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the President. It was a massive extra governmental collaboration that was meant to shape the country to their own means in the event of a collapse. As
Is
things
that
be-
their logo on the US flag?
it's pretty like like front loaded, isn't it? You know what you're getting.
Yikes. You know things are going a little haywire when a corporation slaps their logo on the country's flag.
Not even a corporation, just a bunch of shadowy arseholes working behind the scenes to manipulate things to their own ends,
Not
which is
great.
worse in some ways. It is literally the deep state, yeah. Yeah, Shai's absolutely right. It's the
Yeah,
deep state.
not in love with that, but again, it's Fallout. Like it's as you know, things don't go well in Fallout, listeners.
Well, it's going to get worse. As things began to escalate, the hope was to establish installations around the country so that in the event of the apocalypse, the members of the Enclave would remain and would be able to continue to wage war even after the country ceased. I like what gets me about that.
So specific. It's just oh
It's not
boy,
even like continue governance. It's continue to wage
the
war.
war.
They're not like, okay, we might have a chance of rebuilding society after this if some of us stick around. It's not that. It's
Yeah.
all right. If some of us are left alive, we can kill everyone. All right. We can really pull out all the stops. We can still go out there
Mhm.
and absolutely lay waste. We've got to make sure it happens. I like the idea there's one guy in the meeting going, I mean, could we not try and rebuild civilization? Get out. Get out
No,
right
of
now.
course not. We're gonna
What are you
crush our
talking about?
enemies.
Yeah.
Hey DK, Enclave uniform reminds you of oh yeah. Nope, not reminded of anything. Man. Oh boy. So anyway, yeah, what happens next, Kirioth? They can even if everything else is destroyed, they can still wage war, right?
And that's the most important thing, clearly.
War never changes.
It never changes. The Enclave saw Project Safe House as an opportunity to test various scenarios regarding their human populations to gather data for further usage, because of course they did. Some, of course, would be kept normal, and they would be used as control vaults, while others would have scenarios that would allow for the Enclave to gather data. A meeting with high-ranked American executives, including Robert House, Leon von Felden of West-Tek, and Julia Masters of Repcon, indicated that the inevitable escalation of war would ultimately be good for the profits of all businesses involved. So much so that preemptive war would likely ensure Vault-Tek's bottom line.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
All right. All right.
it is one of those things where you're like, yeah, but if the world ends, there's no more money because there's no
Yeah,
more
what
society. So there's no more, like, the structure is gone. Without the structure, you having billions of dollars is irrelevant
means nothing.
because, yeah. But at the same time, like, it seems cartoonish and stupid. But then you remember that, oil companies actively suppressed information about, the damage caused to the atmosphere and all
Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
because it would mean that they would be rich. And you're like, I mean, it seems outlandish until you look at the dumb, idiot
Yeah.
people that actually exist. And then you're like, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see
Yeah.
it. I can
Yeah.
absolutely see it. And I don't like that I can.
Yeah, that's just oh man, there's just too many parallels. I don't like it. I don't like how many somewhat specific parallels there are in this episode. I'm not a big fan. I gotta be honest.
Did you enter into this recording thinking to yourself, "Man, I really hope that a lot of this is a bit too real?" Or were you
Nope.
hoping for
Listen,
something a bit more escapist than that?
when we started this podcast, I was like, "Oh yeah, grim dark worlds. We're gonna be seeing a lot of stuff that's just never gonna happen in real life because these are all fantasy worlds, right?" Oh, mama, this is here's too many parallels. You chose the wrong podcast to join, buddy. Yeah, well, you know what? It's all right. It's all right.
We
It's
should
all
have
right.
called this existential crisis. We should have
A little too real.
a little too real, the podcast.
Mhm. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well as
It's
acceptable
true.
losses.
Acceptable
Yeah.
losses, way better title. Works
Mhm.
way better.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to go to the pre-Great War, which is January 2077 to September 2077. Early 2077 saw the development of Mr. Gutsy, a warlike version of Mr. Handy, and it escalated while the battle over Anchorage saw the complete removal of Chinese forces from Alaska, and a line that had landed on mainland China a few years prior would finally be fully reinforced. The expulsion of Chinese forces saw the lowering of the DEFCON level for the first time in a decade. But just because the conflict was over in Alaska doesn't mean that things were fine domestically. Food riots and civil unrest had become the norm in most major cities, and the returning veterans of the Alaskan Front were immediately deployed in these cities to stop the protests. This caused the rise in major anti-war sentiment and the desertion of soldiers from the military. It was also during this time that the President of the United States would vanish from the public eye without any explanation. Again, no parallels here,
Oh.
and additionally,
Yeah, that's not great. You don't love to see that happen.
no. Additionally, Robert House would place himself in stasis after comfortably assuming that all of his pre-war plans were complete and set to go without any error timing-wise. Protests, which goes about as well as you'd think. Protests from miners and steelworkers facing extreme quotas for the continued war effort would result in various militias forming. Of note, the Free States would form in Appalachia and announce their secession from the United States. Some vaults, including Vault 95, would begin to receive shipments, including military-grade drugs in the late summer of 2077, without any explanation.
Oh, love that.
If
No
you're in a vault
explanation.
in
Oh, don't worry. We're getting
yeah,
military-grade drugs and weaponry. Why? Don't worry about it.
don't
Okay.
don't ask questions. All
Yeah.
fine. It doesn't seem fine.
It seems very opposite of fine. This is
Now, we move on to October of 2077. There is good news. Nuka-Cola
finally.
Quantum was released in October of 2077, and the bright blue US military-sponsored beverage with twice the calories, twice the carbohydrates, twice the caffeine, and twice the taste also included a nuclear isotope in it.
Oh,
Delicious.
what? I'm sorry. Come again? I was like, oh, twice the cat. I was like, yeah, this sounds like soda. Yeah, yeah, cool. Nuka-Cola. What isotope?
It's just got a nuclear isotope in it. It's fine. What's
Oh,
your
is that
problem?
all? Okay.
Everything else is
Crazy.
nuclear
Great.
powered. Now your drink is as well. It's just, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
So is there a reason that there's a nuclear isotope in my soda other
Makes it
than
glow.
it makes is it that can't be the reason. Stop it. Please, like
It makes it glow.
cannot.
It looks cool.
Is that the reason?
What more do you want?
I
You
don't
want a cool
know.
glowing blue drink, don't you?
Yeah, but you could you
See?
use food coloring.
Uh, The team, so Shai says, the team found that a strontium-90 isotope derivative originally developed for military ordnance created a bright blue glow that worked well as a food additive when adjusted for consumption. So there you go, it's fine.
Okay. Sure. Man, this
If someone
nuclear
had,
isotope sure do make my soda look cool.
I love
Okay.
the idea of being handed a drink and someone just going, I mean, it was developed for military ordnance, but it's fine. It's been adjusted. You'd be like, no, thanks. I'm all good.
We're
I'm fine
we're
about it.
pretty sure this nuclear isotope is safe to drink.
I don't know about you. I have not heard of real world radiant water. I know that.
Radium water?
What? Oh God! Is this a similar thing where like like there was a point where radium was like a fashionable thing. So like you could have watches that would just glow all the time because they
Oh,
had like
yeah, yeah,
radioactive
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And the
That's how
women
you
who
used to
painted them
make
on,
glow in the dark stuff.
yeah, they would
You
like
would have
lick
to
the
use
brush
radium.
and then
Yeah.
put it on and then lick the brush and then it didn't end well. It wasn't great. Um, so Radithor was a radioactive patent medicine brand of distilled water containing at least one microcurie each of the radium-226 and 228 isotopes sold, oh my God, sold in half-ounce bottles. In 1932, the illness and death of business magnate Eben Byers was unambiguously linked to his fervent use of Radithor, leading to the collapse of the radium fad and the strengthening of regulatory control of pharmaceutical and radioactive products in the United
Jesus.
States. Oh my God. He died from jawbone cancer after consuming 1,400 bottles of Radithor.
Whoa. He was too sick to travel, so the commission sent a lawyer to take his statement in his home. The lawyer reported that Byers' whole upper jaw, except two front teeth and most of his lower jaw, had been removed, and that all the remaining bone tissue of his body was disintegrating and holes were actually forming in his skull. Oh,
Oh my God.
ay, ay, ay. That's yeah, that sounds like your body kind of falling apart, which, kind of
You know, it's
strange.
been a while since I've read something that has legitimately made like I've gone really cold. I also am like weirdly sweaty and I feel a bit
Yeah,
sick.
because that's
That's
how
horrific.
what makes it even worse is, like, that's a thing that actually happened. That's not fictional fallout. That's not something that, like, they just, "Oh, yeah, we just wrote body horror."
Oh
That's
my
a guy that was
God.
addicted to consuming his Radithor and,
Ugh,
ooh,
ugh.
consequences. Yeah, that's not great. I don't like that.
I
I don't like
I
that
like
either.
I don't know how to describe how much I hate that. Like, I physically hate it. I don't know how else to put it. I'm having
That's
like a weird rejection to reading that where it's just
that's fair.
it's actually too horrible. To
That's a
oh
lot.
God.
That's crazy.
Yeesh. God damn. Okay. Wow. I don't know how to move on from that. So we're just going to carry on. The labor problems facing the United States weren't just impacting the humans. Automaton riots began to break out, and the National Guard was unable to handle both civil unrest and robotic unrest. Scientific studies around this time began to suddenly cease. The Atlas weather modification program was shuttered, and the scientists involved in the FEV project would find an enemy in the form of Captain Roger Maxson. Great name. Uh,
Yep.
in early October of 2077, soldiers on the Mariposa military base would discover the hidden FEV experimentation going on. Maxson would interrogate a scientist, and the scientist would claim that the experimentation was at the behest of the government. Maxson refused to believe this and killed him. Very direct.
Alright. Alright. Cool, cool, cool.
Every scientist would confirm that this was done by the government, and his refusal to believe them would cause him to lay waste to almost all of them.
As you
Maxon had
do.
enough. He'd had enough at that point. He was like, "No, well, I've had it now. I'm not doing it anymore."
It's like, I'm just cleaning this up. Maybe, you know what? I don't believe the government did sanction this, but, like, this place is getting cleaned.
Yep.
Sheesh. Alright. Fire and brimstone it is.
Stubborn, Maxon would announce on October 20th, 2077, that his unit in Mariposa would fully secede from the United States. The hope for this was that a government would be forced to respond to the situation, but unfortunately, he and his eventual Brotherhood, with a capital B, would receive no such response.
Ah, is this how that starts?
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Okay.
On October 22nd, a specialized platinum chip was printed in Sunnyvale, California, that is to be picked up by a courier to deliver to Robert House on the 23rd. House believed that this delivery would be just in time for his future post-war plans, but even the brightest scientific minds can get the details wrong by a few hours. On this day as well, the United States forces that had been on Chinese soil had made a full push inward and were now on the outskirts of Beijing, and the conclusion of the Sino-American War was imminent. But this would all change the following day.
Boy.
It's looking up. It's all looking up. If you ignore all the other stuff, it's all looking up.
Well, I imagine in the Fallout universe, at some point, you probably will look up for the last time.
You are entirely correct.
I was worried I was. I was like, this is that moment, isn't it?
Yep. At 12:03 a.m. EST on October 23rd, 2077, reports of unidentified submersibles were sent to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. A few hours later, airplanes would be spotted off the Bering Strait, headed straight towards the mainland. At 9:13 a.m., 4 nuclear launches are detected. The National Guard, as well as the National oh my god. I can't read it. Catastrophe. There we go.
Catastrophe.
Wow.
Let's go.
I could not pass that for some reason.
Catastrophic.
I started out with catastrophic, then realized it was wrong, and then just couldn't recover. The National Catastrophe Relief Auxilia are given a 29-minute warning about the incoming strikes so that they can begin contingency plans, including the establishment of checkpoints and evacuations. By 9:17, NORAD confirms that more nukes have been launched and the DEFCON level is changed to 1. Hidden from the public eye, the president orders a nuclear response at 9:26. At 9:42,
how many nukes got launched at because there was like a bunch in the beginning, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, there's more.
there's
Is
4
there like
initially, and then it just says more.
So it's just a lot of nukes are going everywhere, and then the
Lot of
US is
nukes.
like, well, fine, we'll nuke you back, asshole.
Something else with the nukes, if I remember correctly, I feel like is it that the explosions are smaller, but the radiation fallout is way worse? Am I remembering that right, Shai? But
Well, I was
like,
gonna say, when you have that many nukes going off, I mean, like, the radiation is gonna be everywhere. Like, it's gonna be in the air, in the dust that it's kicking up, so, yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, from the TV show, there's like 4, you see 4, as Shai says, hitting LA before it cuts. So it's like, that's a lot. That's already a lot. 4 nukes is a lot, you know?
I need to watch the TV show. I heard it's real good.
It is good. I enjoyed it. It was.
Oh, you watched it? Okay.
I did watch it.
Okay.
I did watch it when it first came out. I haven't watched it again since, but I really enjoyed it. And I will say the kind of opening of seeing the nukes like hit, it's some of the most intense like 3 minutes of TV I've ever watched. It's absolutely horrifying. Like, it's really well done.
It's got old good old
there's
Walter
a few in
Goggins
Boston
in it,
as
right?
well. Yes. Walton Goggins, great.
Walton Goggins goggle glasses.
So, yeah, hidden from the public eye, the president orders a nuclear response at 9:26, and at 9:42, the first nuclear missiles land on U.S. soil. Pennsylvania and New York are the first places hit, and California is hit shortly thereafter. By 9:47 a.m., the United States and the world as we know it are no more. The world has officially ended.
Yeah. Oof.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's nuclear warfare for you, right? So yeah, that's not great.
Luckily, everything else in this has been completely inaccurate to the real world, so it's nothing we need to worry about.
Yeah, totally. Oh my god, is that actually what the current planet? Well, I guess it would because everything is just dead. right? Like we're essentially a death world at the beginning of Fallout 3, right? Or I guess after this, we're just a death world. Radiation and everything. Literally, we are a death world from 40K. Not to boss baby this too much, but also, again, I don't remember the plot lines of the games. Like I played them long time ago. The president, is he like actually, did he actually get just whisked away out of the eye of everyone, or was this like oh yeah, it's actually an assassination and it's just seedy deep state running everything,
It
pretending
seems
that
he got
he's still
whisked
there?
away. It seems
Okay,
he got
he actually got whisked away. Okay.
there we go. So Shai says you meet the president in person in Fallout 2. He's a member of the Enclave hiding on a secret base.
Okay.
Of
I
course
never
he's a
played
member of the
Fallout 1 or
Enclave.
2. I
Of course he is.
Yeah,
God damn it.
of course. Why wouldn't he be, right? Yeah, I started Fallout 3, so I wasn't sure if that was just like, oh yeah, I just forgot that part happening because could. So anyway, cool. Thank you, Shai.
We are now post 2077. The end is a new beginning. Everything mentioned before serves as a historic basis for the things we find as we travel the Wasteland. The world that was once known is further and further away in human history. The most current entry in the timeline of Fallout brings us all the way to 2296. Over 200 years, I'm having real issues with numbers today, over 200 years after the events of the Great War. And although the Great War was the final war fought by the United States of America, it was not the final war faced on the global stage. Though the world has changed, war hasn't, because war never changes.
Love it. Love it.
So there you go. That is the
we finally
downfall
got
of the world.
Yeah, and you know what sucks is that like it followed a completely like I don't want to say logical like turn of events, but it was like, there is enough stuff happening in the Fallout world that is just a little hitting a little too close to home that it's like, ooh, this it's like, Fallout's a cautionary tale, and I don't like it. I just want it to be a fictional game that has no bearing on reality whatsoever. And it's like,
Yeah.
why are these things kind of sort of nope, nope, nope. I don't want my world to parallel Fallout's world. Nope, don't want that.
If you
Nope.
basically, if you strip away like the 50s aesthetic that it's got going on, like there's nothing really in there that is outlandish or stupid or like it doesn't feel like it feels feasible, and I don't like that. Like if you ignore the
Yeah.
fact that we've got, like atomic powered cars or whatever,
Yeah, and
and
power
like
armor and stuff. It's like,
yeah, like if you strip away those elements, it's unfortunately it's not that like far out of left field,
yeah,
which
I
is the
hate that
scariest bit.
yeah, that's the scariest part is I'm just like, this stuff is not outside the realm of possibility. And it's like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah,
N-
I'd
I
really
don't,
like it to be. I'd love it to be.
I would really like it if the Fallout universe was well outside the realms of like possibility. And now it's just like, oh, anyway.
Now, to be
So
fair,
carry on.
they've
Oh,
got
yeah, go ahead.
aliens.
Go ahead.
They've got aliens. We haven't
Too true.
proved that we've got aliens yet, so it could all be their fault. And
True. But like, have you ever seen Contact with Jodie Foster?
yes, yep.
I love the quote from her dad where it's just like, well, yeah, there have to be aliens because if there's not, well, that's a massive waste of space.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
I love that. So,
Oh,
is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Because I think, Shy, we wanted to mention the Patreon at the end of the episode.
the current plan for the Patreon is this. $5 and $10 tiers, patrons will receive episodes 1 week early, ad-free on Patreon video, or private RSS feed that could be connected to Spotify or other podcast services, plus a special role on our Discord. We will also make 15-minute shorts on topics that are too small for full episodes, and those will be exclusive for patrons. everyone else will receive episodes 1 week later on YouTube/the public feed for podcasts. Hopefully, that'll keep you all happy. And if you don't want to sign up to Patreon or you're not currently able to do so, that's also fine. Just wait a little bit longer and still receive the same great content that you would otherwise.
Well, that sounds like one hell of a deal. Hell yeah. That's
Nice.
dope. Nice. So, yeah. I'm assuming there's going to be a link in the description. I don't know if it's patreon.com/acceptable losses, but check in the description for a link to the Patreon. I'm sure it's there. Whew. What a trip we've gone on today.
I feel like it went absolutely off the rails at the end, but that is entirely our fault. We could have just shut up and we didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, also, on the Patreon, we will be posting the thumbnails and other art, because Ted and our artists have been absolutely kicking it out of the park. So,
nailing it 100%. And you are totally correct, by the way. It is patreon.com/acceptable losses.
Let's go. Branding. All right, Kirioth, take us home, country road. Ooh, that's oddly specific for this episode.
It's making me sad. I want to go home.
You are home, Kirioth.
Right, we'll be back later for more horrible existential crisis inflicting grimdark universe stuff. Thank you for listening. We'll see you for the next one.